If you think of this as a drama, as a play, in which there are 7 scenes to be taken in, 7 points of action to be considered. And from this narrative that John gives us, we can draw the specifics, the basics of the salvation that is offered through Jesus Christ. In John chapter 9, beginning with verse 1, we read these words down through verse 5. And as Jesus passed by, he saw a man which was blind from birth. And his disciples asked him, saying, Master, who did sin, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? Jesus answered, Neither has this man sinned, nor his parents, but that the works of God should be made manifest in him. I must work the works of him that sent me while it is day. The night cometh when no man can work. As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world. As Jesus passes by, he comes to a man who's been blind from birth. There are many causes for blindness. The driver today told me that he's beginning to have difficulty with his vision. I'm going, blood sugar at 800. Yeah, I can imagine. There have been people who have gone blind because they have neglected to treat diabetes. But this man was blind from birth. Do you get the just total lack of understanding of anything that the disciples come to him and say, who sinned? Did this man sin or did his parents sin because he was born blind? Now, we do need to confront the fact that often disabilities, sickness, and disease and all kinds of things can be the result of sin. If I go out and get high on drugs and wreck my car on a tree and wind up crippled, that was the result of sin. And when Jesus says neither this man nor his parents sinned, he's not talking about at any time. He's talking about specifically in this case, his blindness is not caused by either one sinning. But think of the ridiculousness of the question, who was it that sinned that this man was born blind? Was it his own sin? He hadn't been born yet. How could that be? This first act of Jesus seeing the blind man is indicative of the human race who are blinded by sin. But let me tell you this, it's not blinded by our own sin or the sin of those around us or our family sins. Let me tell you this, the human condition is caused by Adam's sin that we have inherited. The sins that we commit, the wrongs that we do, the mistakes that we make are symptoms of the root of the problem. This man was born blind. You and I were born in sin. We were born blinded by sin. I used to think when I was younger that I was perfect until I committed that first willful sin. Then I thought back to, when did that take place? If you've got a toddler around the house, they come over to the coffee table and want to grab that vase, and you say, no, don't do that. Well, they'll go off a little while, and then they'll come back and don't touch it. And they will wait until the appropriate time, and then they'll touch it because they're just going to do that. It's just their nature. And I'm going, oh, they don't know what they're doing. Well, no, but they go back and do it over again. And over and over and over again. It's just part of who we are. The first act has to do with the inherent nature of our blindness. We cannot see God. We cannot see the things of God because we're blinded from birth by Adam's sin. That's what Paul says in the book of Romans. Read the book of Romans. You'll get a good idea about that. But that's this first act. Jesus finds a man blind from birth. Who caused it? Nobody caused it. But notice what he says. But that the works of God should be made manifest in him. Why are we in this condition? So that God's glory can be made manifest in us. So that the work of God can be done in our lives. And we can be saved. You know, the first act of salvation has to do with our coming to recognize our inherent need to be saved. Now, we'll mention that maybe later if I remember. I could tell you at the end of this dialogue, at the end of this narrative, the Pharisees say, what? Us blind? If you don't recognize you're blind, what hope is there for you? Because you think you can already see. I'm looking forward to the day when I am no longer colorblind. When I had my cataracts done, I said to the doctor, can you... Well, he told me when they do this, a lot of people see the flash of 1,000,000 colors. And I said, really? That'd be really good because I've never seen those. Never seen colors. Can you put some lenses in there that'll help me to see color? And no, that's not going to work. But one day I will see that.